Step 1, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick.
Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. It's Monday, February 16th, 7:38 Eastern Standard Time. We've got a lot to go over in the Nancy Guthrie case.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
While we're listening to this music, let's remember we've got Middle E fighting right now, and we want to give him some good graces today and some prayers as he goes into surgery.
I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my beautiful people. Happy Manic Monday. It is Manic Monday. It is ridiculously early. I decided to roll with it this morning because it's either you guys or TikTok first thing in the morning, and I chose you because I love you guys. I love you guys. Mwah. Oh, that's a smack in the face. Sorry. There you go. There's my kisses to all of you. Okay, because we roll up in here on Monday morning like, hey. All right, guys, I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime. We're covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. What's going on in this case? I really don't know. I'm bouncing back and forth between my knowledge of crimes and, law enforcement procedure and just trying to make heads or tails of what we are truly dealing with here in this particular case. Honestly, folks, I don't know. I don't know if we're dealing with somebody close to the family. I don't know if we're dealing with somebody that targeted this family. I don't know if we're dealing with somebody that's just a dumbass that likes to rob old ladies' houses. I really just don't know what we are dealing with here in the Nancy Guthrie case. But what I can tell you, what I've seen, it's pretty stinking scary. I don't care what is going on out there in Tucson. You guys are in danger. Whatever you guys are doing, and I don't really care about the University of Arizona, that contract, whatever that is, it needs to end, and it needs to end soon. Because I have seen so many videos of creepers in your communities, and I'm sorry. I care about you, your family, your children, and your grandparents and parents, right? And I think many people in my chat also care for these strangers we know nothing about. It scares the crap out of people like me that are watching this in horror, seeing all of these strangers covered, creeping on people's porches, being seen on people's cameras, hiding, ducking, bobbing, and weaving in the middle of the night because there's no stinking lights out there and it's a smorgasbord for criminals. And there's nothing more enlightening, in my opinion, than what we have seen over the last several weeks. That's scary. I don't know how many of you guys are comfortable seeing all those creepers and knowing they're different people. Put a 1 in the chat if you're saying, it's just life. Put a 2 in the chat if that scares the crap out of you, okay? I'd like to gauge my 188 people audience this morning. How many of you guys are comfortable with that creeping? 1, you're perfectly comfortable with the creeping. 2, that scares the crap out of you, okay? I'll wait for some people to start, throwing some numbers in the chat because I got to tell you, this is a little crazy. If you guys are just waking up, you're coming in, come on in. Morthra's a little, she's a ride or die. She's like, give me a little bit of criminal. Yeah, right? Mortha's like, I got this. I got my Smith & Wesson. Bring it on. The rest of us, on the other hand, we're like, yeah, that's a little scary if you ask me. Yeah. Martha's the only 10-foot tall, bulletproof person we got in the... We love you. Good morning, Stargaze. It's nice to see you, love. Julie, it's nice to see you. Melanie, it's nice to see you. All of you beautiful people. Tina, it's nice to see you. Second Amendment, baby. There you go. I knew it was something. It's like, hey, I'm fine over here. You can come over and mess with me if you want to. I'm not going to mess with you, but Smith & Wesson might. Who's Smith & Wesson? Well, come over here and monkey F around and you'll find out.
You are fake news.
I'm just joking. All right, guys. So, in all fairness, all comical stuff set aside, it's scary. We saw a lot of things. We saw the bumps, right? The bumps in the night. And I've got to tell you, I won't lie. Seeing this creep doing what he's doing on the outside of her door, it mortified me. It mortified me for this 84-year-old grandmother. Because at the end of the day, no matter how we feel, we're still human. And our fabric of who we are, we're still human. We still have feelings, unless you're a psychopath or a sociopath or a sociopath with the underlying narcissistic tendencies. Well, then maybe you may not feel anything. But for the rest of us that are semi-normal to just under crazy, we feel a lot. Okay, we feel a lot. And this is unnerving us. This is unnerving us that this could happen because, in all fairness, when we see these cases, we think of our own grandmother. We think of our own mother. We think of our own aunt. We think of our own, we think of our family. And it makes it so real. It makes it so real for us. And it's like, who the hell's going to go and grab an 84-year-old grandmother out of her home? Like, it's shocking. The idea of this story is shocking. Okay? We've heard movies. We just had Friday the 13th just passed where we're watching creepy movies. This is the stuff those creepy movies are made for, right? And made of. This is not real life, and this is definitely not our real life. But it is today. This is our reality. 84-year-old grandmother missing. Family in complete shambles. And this is her daughter. As you can see, a much different daughter, right? She looks broken. I've seen a lot of broken women doing this job because most of the women that we deal with are moms. And their children are the ones that are the victims. And in this scenario, this is a woman that's blaming herself, that thinks she's responsible for what happened to her own mother. That's got to be a horrible place. Nobody is responsible. When acts of crimes happen to you, you are not responsible for that. The monster is. And it's going to be so hard for her. She's going to need a lot of recovery. No amount of money is fixing this. I'm just letting you know. There's no amount of money that can fix this. What's done is done. And now it's time. And I know a lot of people are sitting here and saying they have hope that she's alive. But we knew at the very beginning of this case, 24 hours in, she needed her medicine to survive. Her heart cannot pump without the medicine. She's got a pacemaker to help facilitate keeping her alive should her heart stop. So we're now officially into week 3. So her mom's survival rate is literally in the single percentile. Like 1 or 2%. Okay? I want you guys to understand the reality of the situation. Yeah, we have hope for that 1 to 2%. But I want you guys to understand the sheer gravity of the situation we're dealing with. Her mother's most likely gone. And I don't know about you, and I don't care if you had a horrible relationship with your mother or a wonderful relationship or somewhere in between. This is hard for anybody. I can tell you my father didn't really know his father very well. But he still loved his father. My father paid for his father's burial expenses. Otherwise, that man would have probably been sent to the state. And I remember I was just a little girl. I didn't quite understand, and still to this day don't understand the pain that my father went through as a young boy. But I remember him grabbing his father's, I was just a little thing. I think I was maybe 3, 4 years old, maybe a little older. I don't remember being too much older. Maybe I was a little older. Maybe I was 9, somewhere around there. I was pretty young. I can't remember specifically, but I remember him holding his dad's hand, and I remember him telling his father, "I forgive you." And his father ended up passing away, and my father ended up burying him. And my father was in turmoil over that. He cried. A man that walked off and left him as a child. Sorry, I don't want to get too emotional over it myself because it's not about me. It's about this woman that had her mom ripped. But I just want you guys to understand the bond parents have over children. Even when they're not around. This woman here loved her mother. Her mother was always around. Her mother was her biggest supporter, her biggest champion, And so this was really, really very, very painful. And I wanted to bring my father's story in just a little bit because, my father didn't know his dad very well. He remembered him from when he was a child. My dad was a grown man with kids when he had to, bury his dad. And seeing him in the pain that he went through for a man that was his dad, but he didn't even really know, you have to think that what Savannah's going through is probably that on steroids, And you can kind of see it in her face. You can see a broken woman here, a woman that's desperate for answers, that is hopeless and helpless of the circumstances. She has all of this money, and all of this money can't fix what she is going through right now. And I know for a fact, any female that loves their mom would give everything that they have, but their children for their parent, and I think that's the way it should be. But this woman is struggling. She's hurting. And people try to act like she's not a human being because she's famous or, on a screen or on a TV. She's still a human being, okay? She's not a narcissistic psychopath, okay? That means she really does have feelings, and she feels pain, and she feels loss, and she feels a lot. And right now, I'm sure she feels scared. I'm sure she feels very, very scared. So let's hear what she has to say, guys. When she made that video of her mom, I felt like she came to realization her mom's most likely not here because there was a shift in the case, and the case slowed down significantly. And we know that when cases slow down significantly, it's usually because they're not, fighting against the clock. And they can now have some breathing room to take their time and process everything properly and not so exponentially, because when you start speeding things up, things get lost in the process, steps get missed. And so when they have the opportunity to slow down and really focus on the case, that's what they typically do. So is that what they're doing? Maybe, but I see a broken woman here before us, and she's just so raw. So raw. So if you guys, I know we're praying for the E family. Before I get into this video here, I just want to say a few statements here. Many of you guys are just learning about my channel because of this case. We covered cases for a really long time. And I met a wonderful, amazing family that we refer to as the E family. And they ended up starting up a podcast specifically on the heels of Sebastian Rogers, which lived in their community and touched their family so because they also have an autistic child that they were told would be unable to speak the rest of his life. And because of therapies and working super, super hard, they were able to get their son to speak. So he's no longer a non-verbal autistic child. He's an autistic child. And they have a middle child that doesn't have any autism, but their family history is they have cancer. So they have a large number of family members that ultimately get cancer. It's obviously hereditary and in their family line somewhere. And their son, their middle son, the one that's not autistic, developed a mass in his brain. So as you guys can imagine, this is a really hard statement to make. Well, he's had to undergo several surgeries to remove that mass, and every time they think that they have it, a shadow starts appearing. So he's just a young kid. He has been really fighting for his life and fighting very, very hard. And I'm learning today that the E family is now undergoing another surgery. Middle E is going under the knife again. And so if you are prayers and you're in our chat, I know we have a lot of prayers. We got prayers for the Guthrie family. We got prayers for a lot of our other missing kids. And then we've got, content creators that are struggling themselves. Now, this is not their full-time job, obviously. They're very good people. And they found something that inspired them, and it had to do with Sebastian's case. And so that's what they did. They do like a little show every week and kind of break down the case, but they're just an all in all sweet family. When I first got into the case, they were one of the first people that reached out to me. I got to go meet them for a cup of coffee. I got to pick their brain. I got to, talk to them about what they thought made their son, with the autism, how they believe the autism came about with their son. I really got to pick their brain, and they've really had an opportunity to educate us on that. So again, I just wanted to say that as well. Also, if you guys notice, I'm wearing a new shirt. It says "Let Them," right? And then on the back, if I could turn around here without breaking my stuff on my back, I'll read what it says on the back. But I found this shirt, and I love this shirt. I love this shirt, and I think it's perfect for a lot of reasons. But I love this shirt, and my shirt, I thought I took a picture of my shirt, but I did not take a picture of my shirt. But it basically says, let them, I guess I could turn it around, or we could go back. But it basically says, let them talk about you, let them be, don't ever change who you are, you know, empower yourself, basically. But it's a nice little statement. I thought I took a picture of it so I could read it to you, but I guess I set the phone down and forgot to take the picture, or forgot to save the picture that I took. But I love it. I love it. So I thought I'd share that with you. And lastly, guys, if you are part of Sebastian's Army, don't forget we have a Sebastian Army event in Sumner County. Sebastian Army event in Sumner County on February 26th. It's going to be an all-day event. We're going to be stopping our sign waving and everything for some cake and drinks. So we'll be doing that at noon. So if you guys want to if you want to be out there for the whole day, you're more than welcome to. If you'd like to come in the morning, you're more than welcome to, and leave at noon. And if you want to come in the afternoon, and come in around noon, because noon's going to be that time where we eat our cake, you know, kind of get around, pray, socialize, really testify and just fellowship with one another for about an hour or so. If you guys would like, after the event, we're probably going to close down the event around 4:30, so we have plenty of time to clean up and be out of there by 5 on the 26th. We're also planning on going and doing a dinner somewhere. I don't know where we're all going to be able to go and fit in for dinner, but I do want to invite as many people that want to come and hang out with us as possible. This will be an opportunity for you to see me kind of out there, not working, just kind of on my downtime. And, you know, we all have to eat and we all have to recuperate. So if you guys would have suggestions on a place that can handle, you know, 20 or 30 people, please send me some suggestions to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'm hoping to get this event to over 100 people, but I haven't gotten any more than the 30 or 40 confirmed. So if you guys are out there today in chats, in the labs chats, in chats at Pascal, you know, all them, remind them of Sebastian's Army's event that we're going to be having. It's going to be an event, a weeks-long event. Unfortunately, Monday's not going to work for us because of the Airbnb. The Airbnb is not going to be open until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the Monday is a wash. So we'll start Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is his main event. Friday, I'll be out there for half a day to wrap it up. And then I'll be going over to Kentucky. I should be going over to Kentucky. I might have to make a separate trip back to Kentucky. I've been having problems getting my schedule filled for Kentucky, so I might have to cancel that aspect of it because of this new case. I haven't been able to focus on that, so I'm going to push again to try to solidify some meetings and appointments with people in Kentucky. Where's the event and what area? Where's the event in what area of the state? Sumner County is around about an hour. I don't know what direction, but it's an hour out of Nashville. So Nashville is kind of the hub. If you need to know, if people need to fly in, Nashville's the perfect airport to fly in. It's right an hour away from the event. But it's in it's on the outskirts of the Nashville area. It's Sumner County. It's Hendersonville, Tennessee. And again, it'll be a weeks-long event. It's going to be kicking off the 23rd, but the 24th through the 27th is going to be our days of operation. But the 26th is Sebastian Rogers' 2-year milestone of him being missing. So again, if you guys would like to come out there and support the Sebastian Rogers Army event, Sebastian's Army event, please come out there. Basically, what we're doing is we're waving and honking for Sebastian, reminding that community they still have a missing boy, and we still want law enforcement to search for him, which they have not been searching for them. They haven't been doing anything, and we're kind of getting tired. It's been over 2 years or close to 2 years since we even received a press conference from the sheriff. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. So we're going to go out there. Hopefully this inspires a press conference or a press release. I think a press conference is appropriate with a picture of Sebastian behind them. A picture of Sebastian behind them. We're trying to provoke a press conference or press relief, preferably a press conference of the status of the case. The world has a right to know where we are in this case and that they're not sitting on their hands, because for the rest of us, it looks like they're doing absolutely squat because their friends, Chris and Katie Proudfoot, which are, in my opinion, the prime suspects in this case, are their friends. Sheriff Snuggle Struggles, both all Navy people, right? Sheriff Snuggle Struggles is Navy. Chris and Katie are Navy. They have ties together. Their family is developers there, giving millions and millions of dollars to that community. Enough's enough. We need something. So we're going out there to raise our voices. Sebastian's army is going to show up in force, and we're going to remind the community, hi, guys, we're here. Nice to see you. Honk for Sebastian, because he's still missing from your community. And we still need you to pay attention to him. All right, guys. So now we're back to our regular program. This is Savannah Guthrie, very broken woman. She has no idea where her mom is. You can see the hopeless and helplessness in her voice. She's still holding on to hope. God bless this woman. And I want to remind you guys, this is a real human being, okay? Money doesn't take away your feelings, your emotions. It doesn't take away the fact that you bleed red. It doesn't take away your heart, your mind, or your soul. Okay? This is a human being. Please, let's not forget that. Oh, gotta put the volume on.
It's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
Speaking of press conference, have they had a press conference on the up? No. We've received it. Like I said, it's Sumner County 2.0 in this case. It really is. It really is. So we're learning some very good information, quite frankly. Put this down. Let me get my... We're hearing about this, glove, this potential glove that was found outside. Let me just break this down to you. What I'm understanding is we have DNA, foreign DNA in the house or around the house. So it sounds like we have the subject's DNA, okay? And this is important because this is where I was getting very, very, very confused with, because we had heard a couple days ago that there was DNA on the glove, okay? And then all of a sudden we started getting reports about law enforcement stating that the FBI and law enforcement weren't playing nice with each other, and that they sent this glove off to a lab in Florida. And that's when everybody started saying they had DNA from the house, and they kept saying it was a situation of telephone, because somebody was saying that we had DNA on the glove, and somebody was saying there was DNA in the house, and somebody was saying they were all the glove and the DNA in the house were the same thing. They were not. Okay, they were two separate things. Both of those items went to the Florida lab. Okay, now the one tidbit of information that we don't have here, and we can't assume anything when it comes to DNA, is we're learning that there was DNA inside the house. They're not saying where it was. Let me rephrase it. Inside or on the property. We'll say on the property. I don't want to get specific where it is because I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was inside the house or outside the house, but it was on the property. So we'll leave it like that just to be very clear on it. So we have a DNA profile from the property. And then we have this glove that was found, 2 miles away in the direction of the last raid that they had in the house with the mom and the son, and then the Range Rover down the road. That was all in the same vicinity as this glove, in the same direction, from my understanding. Again, I'm not out there. I'm in Florida. I'm trying to make heads or tails of people's descriptions of things and put them into perspective for each of you. And then I show you the receipts for them so you see that I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my rear end to give to you, okay? So this is what I'm understanding. This is my understanding. Now, the information we cannot assume is, did they connect the DNA from the glove to the DNA that they found in the house? Is it the same profile? They're not telling us that, but it's hard for me to believe that they have not, because they're putting a lot of weight in this glove, and we now know that there was DNA also found at the house. So for them to be talking about this glove, even though we can't assume that the connection has been made, I still feel the connection was made, and that's why they are so happy about this gloves. Yes, 16 gloves astound me, but I want to put that into perspective as well. Do I have the image? I do have the image. So this is the perspective I would like to show all of you, because I think it's important for you guys to have perspective. Not all the gloves, even the gloves that they picked up from the investigators out there. Why investigators are throwing their gloves on the ground, I have no earthly idea. My opinion on that is I don't think people were intentionally throwing gloves on the ground. From my understanding, people were putting the gloves in their back pocket. And as you can see, there's a lot of pokey stuff around Arizona, okay? They're called cacti, okay? I'm not familiar. Yes, I am familiar with cacti, because Olivia had to pull cactus spurs out of my back and booty. And yes, we do have it on camera. It was when we were in Texas and we were doing the border. I backed up into a cactus, but it wasn't a cactus that had the big needles on it. No. It was the cactus that had the little, like the needles that the acupuncture shit. Excuse my language. Yeah, and she had to find tweezers. And I had to lean over. We're in the... we got this on tape. I had to pull my shirt up. I had to pull everything. She had to take a needle and start pulling these damn things out of me. You remember that? Oh my gosh. So I'm going to tell you, while I wasn't in Arizona for searching, I was in Texas, and I was at the border, and we did Audrey Cunningham's case, boots on the ground as well, and we did search for her. So I will tell you, there are things that grab stuff off of your back pocket, so you need to have those deep. I know, millions of prickies, and you know what? I kept the stuff. Listen to this. I forgot, because I haven't worn the shirt that I wore in a long time, and now, mind you, this shirt has already been washed, and I put it on. And this is from like 2 years ago, whenever Audrey Cunningham's case was. And I put that shirt on and I had to take it off, because guess what? There was still some of those cacti needles, the little tiny ones. I had to go after I put it on and I started itching. I'm like, oh, and I had to pull it off and start taking, tweezers and pulling the needles out. And so I had to turn the shirt inside out and start taking like, cause I love the shirt, and the shirt was expensive, by the way. Why I was out and freaking searching, I don't know. Anyways, I had to take sticky stuff like the Gorilla tape and start putting it all on the inside and pulling those all out. She's dating some new guy now, and actually, you probably know him. His name is Kaylee Gonzalez's brother. Steve Gonzalez, and but it's the son, obviously not the dad, but the son. They ended up doing an NBC special on the case, and he showed her how to fish or something like that, and sparks started flying, and now she's kind of doing her own thing, living her own life, whatever that may be. She's doing well. So it doesn't sound like she's going to be traveling as much. I think she wants to settle down and get married and have kids and stuff like that. So, but I just want to put in perspective the types of gloves they did find. Yeah, they did find some gloves, but, not all of them were gloves that were appropriate, that would match, but they still sent them for DNA anyways, because you don't know what could be under that nitrile glove in his hand. And, we have had some people that look good for this case. They just haven't been able to make it for them, So we'll see. Is one of the people that were detained, is it going to ultimately be them? I don't know. But I did want to provide you guys a little perspective on the types of gloves. There weren't just all the types of gloves that he was wearing. There was a multitude of different gloves out there that they went ahead and bagged and tagged for evidence, just to put that in there. So I thought it was very important for me to kind of explain, what had truly transpired here with this glove and the DNA, and why it's so exciting, and why I think law enforcement is excited about it. Now, there could be some nuances with it. Is it, did they, I can't assume that they've made the connection, because they haven't said they made the connection, but it sounds like we have a DNA profile inside the house. And if they were able to match that DNA profile to a glove 2 miles away, well, they're going in the right direction, in my opinion. They're going in the right direction, and I really do believe that we are getting closer and closer and closer. I pray. The only problem is, oh, hey, Jude, it's nice to see you. I didn't see you come in. Laura, the Southern Mimi, it's nice to see you. Bombastic, it's been a while. It's nice to see you. I also saw somebody else come in the chat that I hadn't seen in a while, and I forgot to say hi to them. I meant to. Let me see if I can go up here. Oh, Plant Lady, it's nice to see you too. Kim, Candy, it's nice to see you. Tina, I didn't say hi to a lot of you guys. Oma, Shits and Giggles, it's always nice. It's nice to see you, love. Hope you're well. There's Hey Jude. Oma, Connie, it's nice to see you. Who else did I miss? Diggin' Dirt, it's nice to see you. Transporter. Stargaze, I think I said hi to you. Groovy Gal. Ooh, Groovy Gal. 138. We've already had almost 3,000 people visit us on this chat alone, on this live alone. And we got 649 people in chat. If you guys could go out there and give me a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. This helps us grow. If you guys are watching on Facebook or TikTok on the live stream or live preview, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button or the heart or whatever they give you on those platforms as well. Don't forget to share it. Hit that share button. I really do appreciate it. It helps this channel grow. And we have a lot of great talking points too. Yeah, there's things going on, but let's get down to brass tacks. Let's have conversations that we've been having, questions that we've been having on this case from the beginning. Let's do some research. That's what it's about when we're landside. So we've got breaking news. We've got gloves near the Guthrie home that appear to match suspects' DNA results. So this is where this conversation keeps coming up, that I say that we cannot, assume that, it's not highlighting for you, it's highlighting on my end, but we cannot assume, there it is, match suspect's DNA. How do we know what the suspect's DNA is? You see what I'm saying? And it makes you feel, thank you, Debbie. It makes you feel that this glove might be a true hit because they had some DNA from inside that house. And I truly believe that they've got the suspect's profile. And I also believe that that's why it's so important about this specific glove, because I think this specific glove may actually match the DNA found around the property. And that right there, folks, would be huge. And we heard they were putting it through CODIS. And it's been my assessment that the reason why this person took if it is the theory that this was a stranger danger, maybe a burglary or robbery gone bad, which has started developing. Prior to us seeing the masked gunman, that really was a low man on a totem pole. I don't think anybody was discussing the third-party danger, stranger danger theory because it was so rare. This case, folks, is a very rare case. I just want to let you guys know that's why everybody is focused on it. People are like, I'm so sick and tired of talking about the Guthrie case. And it's like, well, the reason why we're all talking about it is because this is a very rare case. This is an outlier case. This is a logic-defying case. And here's why it's logic defying, because typically when you deal with a stranger danger situation or a common criminal that comes across somebody or kills somebody, say in the commission of a crime, they leave that person's body right there. Very rarely. And I could tell you, me personally, have never came across a case of a stranger danger breaking into a home, hurting or killing the homeowner, and then removing them out of the homeowner to cover up the crime. I have never I'm not saying that this situation hasn't existed previously. There may be another case similar or have some details, but nothing quite like this, okay? And then you get some ransom notes, as Debbie said. Exactly. Then you got some stinking ransom notes to boot on top of that, and you got yourself a shit show. So I think that there may be several different things at play here, and maybe why it's been so confusing for us, and law enforcement hasn't clarified it because they're happy with us being confused. The more confused we are, the less we're giving the assailant heads up or cues or clues. But at the end of the day, there's still this underlying, because this defies logic, because this doesn't make sense, because usually when we're dealing with a stranger danger, home invasion, robbery gone bad, usually the people do die. I mean, it's not uncommon that a criminal goes into the house, gets shocked by a homeowner, accidentally kills them or intentionally kills them, and flees the area without taking anything. We've heard that story. It's a dime a dozen across this country, quite frankly. Sad to say that, but that story is a dime a dozen across this country. What's not a dime a dozen across this country is the fact that the victim's not in her home dead, okay? She's been removed. And this is where now we have to look at other theories, because it doesn't bode with a standard, botched robbery or home invasion. Now we have this element of a person being removed. We have this element of these ransom notes. We have the elements of, the family taking care of her is not as wealthy as the rest of the family members in their immediate family. For example, their mother has millions of dollars. For example, it appears that their brother has done very well for himself. And it appears that obviously the younger sister has done very well for herself. And so we look at Annie and Tommaso, and it's sad. We look at them less than. If they were making the same amount of money as the rest of their family, would we have this appearance toward them? Potentially, but I don't think it's as strong. I do believe that the reason why we focused on them is because they didn't make as much money as the rest of their families, because it appears they are living above their means, but we don't know that for a fact. We don't know how well the book is doing. We don't know their financial makeup, and we don't know whether or not the mom or the sister or the brother, for that matter, helped them buy that house. They may not have any financial problems at all. They may have that house paid for free and clear for all we know. Maybe the family bought it for them so they could be closer to the mom, because they are the caregivers of the mom. They're the ones, when an emergency happens, they're the ones that are called. Maybe the family realized that and bought them a nice home to be closer to the mother. We don't know the dynamics. We assumed a lot. And so we have to kind of walk some of those assumptions back, because we don't know what we're dealing with here. Could it be Tommaso and Annie setting this whole thing up? Of course it could. Why? Because we have no idea what happened. Could it be a stranger danger theory that just defies logic? Of course it could be. Why? Because we don't know what happened. It could be a number of things. And I'm just trying to caution you from being confident in one of those things, because I've been doing this a long time, and I'm telling you, I'm not confident in any of this. I'm not confident that it's the family. I'm not confident that it's an associate. I'm not confident that it's a third party. I don't know what we're looking at here. I'm just saying that this is crazy. It defies logic, and I feel bad for the family. You know, why not the front door or at least the garage? I really do believe we're looking at this image backwards. I think that we've got information a little off, and I went over it a little bit yesterday because it's over here on this side. Because I was told by multiple sources that it is 212. Okay, the video we're watching right now, I heard is from 212. We were told for, quite a while that the front door camera went offline at 1:47. However, I'm hearing, now I could be totally wrong, and the people that I'm hearing this from could be totally wrong. So I'm not confident, and I'm not standing on this, and I'm not saying this is a factual statement. I'm saying that, this is giving us a little perspective, and maybe we need to reevaluate and come up with several different theories here, because I'm hearing that this 147 couldn't have been the front door camera, because the motion detection and the stuff that we're seeing on the camera, I'm hearing happened at 212. So let's look at this. That means he was there almost 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Over 20 minutes, almost 30 minutes before we saw him observed or observed him. No, it had been 20 minutes, right? About 13 minutes and then 25 minutes. So he would have been on that property for 25 minutes before that motion detected. That's enough to go in, breach a home and hurt somebody. He probably would have went in there, robbed something and left, but because something happened inside that home, he now has to be very concerned. But I don't think, because there's just something about how calm he was on the outside of that door that's really affecting my judgment here, because he really truly was nonchalant out there. He didn't care how much he moved back and forth in front of that camera. He knew that nobody was calling law enforcement. How could he be that confident? The only thing that in my common sense that tells me that he could be that confident, where he could be in front of that camera, move in front of that camera, cover that camera, walk away from that camera, pick something up, come back to that camera. You're talking about 3 or 4 different dings on somebody's phone. Yet he was so nonchalant out there. He had time to put his hand up in front of the camera, try to move it. You could tell he was trying to knock it down with it. So that whole purpose out there, that whole situation out there, was for the sole purpose of removing that camera, in my opinion. So if that was the sole purpose of removing that camera, in my logic, he would have had to already have hurt or subdued the victim. But as you know, outside of that door, when he's doing all this, there's no blood. So it sounds to me like he was removing the camera so he could remove her out and take her to wherever he needed to take her, which was most likely a vehicle. So this is kind of how I'm seeing all of this playing. And this is starting to develop, and it's starting to show, why we didn't have footprints in the blood out there, because he never took her out of the house until after he had removed the camera. And when you look at the timeline, if he was really in front of that camera at 2:12 and not at 1:47, there was 25 minutes he had before removing that camera. That 25 minutes is the scary window. That 25 minutes, I believe, is when everything happened. I don't believe it happened at the 2:12 mark. I think it happened way up here, and the 2:12 was a result of what happened at 1:47 or around that time. So that's kind of I think we might be looking, and we might have some of the details of this just slightly wrong, because it's up for, and I don't know whether this is factual information I'm telling you. This is just a different perspective of time and elements that might explain the scene a little better. That's it. Okay? That's it. So now we know that there is DNA around the house. Tarp in the backpack? It could be, but that would be a little more preparation than I would had anticipated. I'm personally wondering if he had already robbed another house. Like, how many houses have been reported broken into? Nobody's talking about that. And it's not upsetting, but I would like to at least have mainstream media or one of our social media people that are out there go to the law enforcement and find out what the statistics are of home burglaries and break-ins in that community. Because I have a funny feeling maybe it's possible that there was other break-ins that haven't been reported around that community, maybe because the people aren't in their homes. It sounds like maybe this person could have targeted empty homes. Her home may have looked empty. There's a lot of theories that could be going on here with the stranger danger aspect. Now, we still have other aspects of this case that does still have a worry box open for me. Predominantly, somebody feels that this was, not the most professional abduction, right? And I think we can notate that this is not a professional abduction because there was no ransom notes there. Obviously, this person was around the house. Usually when you're abducting somebody for ransom, it's a smash and grab. So you're going in, you're getting as much as you can, and you're getting out. You're doing it very, very quickly. And usually you have a team with you. So everybody has their own part to do. But you're never really at a property for 40. That's too dangerous. That's too dangerous of being caught in an abduction or a ransom thing. Just my opinion. Okay. So you have this ransom situation there, but there's still a few critical situations here. And somebody brought it, the element, the foreign actor element, the international element to this whole entire situation. Well, we have to remember there is an international caveat to this case, okay? There's two, actually, not international, but there's two caveats to this case, in my opinion, from where I'm looking. Savannah Guthrie did two things, and these two things, it may be one of the reasons why she's taking a break from the Today Show. Well, her mother's missing and most likely not doing well. So that would be one of the reasons. She's probably ready to have a mental breakdown, to be honest with you. I know I would be ready to have a mental breakdown if this was my story. So this can't be mentally healthy for anybody in that family right now. But the way I'm looking at this, if it was somebody overseas, well, we have to remember that Savannah was married before. And she was married to a BBC well-known producer, Mark Orchard. And again, she had just broke her silence about her divorce from almost 2 decades ago. Back in 2004 to 2009, she was married to Mark Orchard. Well, on January 24th, they had just released her documentary about her, this very, depressing time of her life surrounding this BBC producer, this well-known, wealthy BBC producer. And so, could it be somebody that went online and found somebody willing to carry out this act for like $20,000 and then just being a punk? There's a possibility of that as well. And then that would also incorporate that foreign entity into this story if we believed Mark Orchard was somehow hurt by her statements or jaded by her statements or wanted revenge because of her statements. And then, of course, we do have what we did find out a month prior to this. That means this just happened literally 1 week before her mother disappeared. Her talking about her ex-husband and her marriage, that past marriage. That was 1 week to the day before her mom disappeared. I just want to put that out there. But a month prior to, she did this episode about Tucson and her upbringing and brought her mom on and let people know basically where her mom lived and where her mom was. And so many people believe that this may have also put a target on her mother's back. So we do have several different theories, as you can tell, from it being somebody known to the family, somebody having international ties. It also incorporates a stranger danger. So we've got 3 or 4 different running theories right now on this case, and we're trying to wait for something to hook. Right? So we're trying to wait for something to come in that gives us direction on where we're going. Right now, watching law enforcement, it's moving toward this stranger danger, which is telling me a couple things, okay? And you guys may not agree with this. You may agree with this, but this is telling me a couple things. We know that they were hot and heavy for Tommaso and Annie at the beginning. 2 different canvassings of their neighborhood. They did a search of their home and some other stuff like that. So what this is telling me, now that they're looking on these third party, it's telling me they may have exhausted the family. It's telling me that they may have already investigated the family enough that they're comfortable and confident to say that the family may not be involved. So you just might want to be looking at that behavior. I'm not saying that that's what they're saying. I'm just saying that that appears to be what their behaviors are saying, law enforcement behaviors. Why? Because they're looking at random people. Look at these people that were just pulled over and investigated. They were delivery people. They were people that were in this community unrelated to this family. So that is, giving us a good concrete lead into where law enforcement, is in this investigation. So I think that if we keep watching law enforcement, it's giving us clues. It is giving us clues. We just need to pay attention to those clues, in my opinion. Okay, so now we know glove and DNA. Glove was found 2 miles away from her home, but DNA was found on her property. Did the DNA and glove get matched? To me, it sounds like it may have, but I do not have any concrete information from law enforcement to state that. Now, you don't know who this gentleman is, but you guys have been hearing me talk a lot about Mike Ruiz. Okay, Mike Ruiz, I knew from Gabby Petito. Much like Brian Enton, we were out there, in one small little area in front of Gabby's house. So you got to meet people and you got to know them and say hi to them almost daily, because we were out there for weeks. Okay, weeks. So this is Mike Ruiz. He's with Fox News, and this is his breakdown. He doesn't do these types of on-camera impromptu conversations very often. He's usually doing text on X. So I love seeing him, get in front of the camera, because he's usually behind the camera and talk. So it's for the first time I'm able to show you guys who he is, right? This is Mike. Very, very good journalist, photojournalist, video journalist, whatever you want to call him. And he's really breaking down the case. So I wanted to give him a few minutes. If you guys have not been on X, or you haven't subbed up to him, it's Mike at Mike R Reports right here. Mike R Reports. This is Mike Ruiz. Like I said, he is a videographer. At least I knew him from his recording for Fox News. He's a Fox News videographer.
All right, so we just got a big news update from the FBI in the Nancy Guthrie case. We heard last week that they found some gloves along this road here. This is North Campbell Avenue. It runs north to south near the home of Nancy Guthrie. What we heard last week was that they found a pair of gloves. We've now learned this morning that local sheriffs in Pima County found 16 pairs of gloves. But of those 16 pairs of gloves, one in particular is especially interesting, because that one may be a match to what was seen on Nancy Guthrie's Nest doorbell camera video. So the FBI says there's a DNA profile recovered from those gloves. They're testing right now. They're going to run it against the CODIS database, which has all the criminals registered in the country. They're going to see if there's a match within 24 hours. So we're expecting possibly some kind of lead in the case to come out of that. If not, the next step that they could do is IGG.
Now, we've talked about this on this channel. This is one thing that law enforcement, or the FBI, does really well. IGG. Now, investigative genetic genealogy testing, what is it? It's basically building a family tree. It's basically taking that, because many people, I don't know about you, but years ago, I took a DNA test. I took a DNA test to find out what I am, right? Because, people, it was just, what am I? I believe that everybody in this world, this day and age, is a Heinz 57. That's why I don't believe in racism. Are there people that are jackasses? Of course there are. There are people that are jackasses in every single color, okay? So let's get over it. But at the end of the day, I truly believe we're all Heinz 57s. And I wanted to find out if I was accurate about that. And yes, I am a Heinz 57. Granted, I got this white skin, blue eyes, and brown hair, blondie brown hair. But at the end of the day, I'm a Heinz 57. I got slanted eyes. Why? Because I got some Asian in me, okay? I got some Asian in me. I'm Irish. I'm Indian. Or excuse me, I was not Indian. I thought I was Indian. I was not Indian. But I did have some Nigerian. A very, very .003 or .02, whatever they register. So, I mean, you do hear, I got curly, make you wonder. You got curly cues here and there and everywhere, and you wonder what your makeup is, right? And so you find out that you're all these different things, right? And it just looks like the majority of my makeup, my personal makeup now is Irish, right? And that's what gives me the fair skin, blue eyes, and kind of, blondie, brownie, ruddy hair, right? So I just think that we're all kinds of, and like, and then I go from being like this pale skin to having a Mexican wrestler in my family. I do. And he looks mean too. So don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. I'm calling my cousin. He's a big teddy bear. He really is. Actually, it's hard to believe that he's got to be, he's got to be mean. Right? It's so funny. It's so funny. And the only reason why he can do it is because he's a big guy. He's a big guy. So, right? Don't mess with me. I'm calling my cuz. But no. But anyways, just getting back to that, I just thought I would tell you. But they follow your family tree. And the family tree ultimately winds up on your front door. That's what happens. Come on. I know, Phil. I know. It is on my bucket. It's on my bucket list.
Investigative genetic genealogy. That's where researchers take the DNA profile and try to find the heritage of whoever donated it. So if they're not a match to anybody whose DNA they swabbed already, or anybody who's a criminal with a conviction and in the database, they can still try to find who it is by going through this IgG process, which is a huge forensic tool that we've seen in a lot of cold cases, but more recently, they use it to catch Brian Kohberger in the Idaho student murders.
Very good, Mike. We're going to give you applause. Yay. Like I said, I never see him on this side of the camera. It's just nice. All right, guys. So we have new details. As you guys know, we're talking about the DNA. What is this going to do? Guys, this is going to bring the face of this person in Rachel Morin case. I don't know if you guys remember Rachel Morin. Rachel Morin, she was a mom of 5 beautiful children. She took care of her body. She was out there exercising on the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail, and it was a beautiful place out there. Why anybody would attack? A very busy place too, like people walking and everything like that, but you can tell that people would never, like, there were so many people jogging and running up behind us. You when you go out there, your awareness goes down because all these people are working around and jogging. So somebody coming up behind you wouldn't spook you, right? It wouldn't spook you. And somebody must have come up behind her and snatched her up, drug her, bludgeoned her, and essayed her and unalived her right there in the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail. And they had his DNA. They didn't know who he was. And that DNA was put into CODIS, and they found out that it attached to an assault of a little girl in California. So at that point, we realized that he had done this before, and he was traveling all over the country because he was just in California 3 months prior to this assault on the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail, which claimed this lady's life. And come to find out, they ended up locating the guy. Now, it wasn't with investigative genetic genealogy, but it does show that you can use these DNA to even link cases from across this country. But Brian Koberger, I think, is the most notable one with the investigative genetic genealogy testing. And it was before the judge. They were trying to get it thrown out, and the judge kept it. So they did rise to the need of showing it was scientifically correct. And they were trying to do it because the people's DNA that they were running against didn't give them specific permission. But apparently the way it was done before, it didn't need to. Now you have an option to opt in or opt out, and people are still opting in to be part of the program so their DNA can be used to solve cases in the future. I got to be honest with you. I would opt in, because if my family's hurting people, they need to be in jail. And I'm a reasonable person to say that. I got no control over what my family does. But if they're out there hurting people, that there's a place that they need to be. There's a place that they need to be. All right, let's get to the new details.
When Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, was first reported missing, police believe 84-year-old Nancy was forcibly taken from her home on February 1st. After several dead ends, the FBI says it recovered a glove with DNA near the home, and that glove appears to match the glove worn by the suspect in security video outside her front door. Fox's Caroline Elliott has the latest from Tucson, Arizona.
Search for Nancy Guthrie is now entering its third week, but as far as we know, investigators still do not have a suspect in this case.
What I know is, we found DNA. And
it was not Nancy Guthrie's DNA.
That was not Nancy Guthrie's DNA. So we'll still work with that, and we're working with our lab on that.
The investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie enters day 15, as detectives hope new DNA evidence could provide some answers.
400 cops out there, they all have hope.
Over the weekend, the Pima County Sheriff's...
And there's another question I have. You know, we heard that there is this DNA at the house or around the property. We heard that. And then we heard about this glove. Yet we have not heard two specific things. We haven't heard that the DNA from around the house and the DNA from the glove have been compared. We also have, hey, Outer Banks, it's nice to see. I agree. You know, I feel bad. The sheriff's nice. You know, I don't like coming down on him. I don't like coming down on nice sheriffs, but, you know, I feel like they made some mistakes up front, but I don't think the mistakes, in all fairness, I don't think the mistakes were detrimental to the case, but they definitely didn't look good. They didn't look good, and they didn't represent Pima County very well, in my opinion. I feel like they should have, maybe Nancy was able to cut the assailant. Well, yeah, but they said that it wasn't blood. The DNA wasn't blood. So that tells me that they have some type of touch DNA. And that might be because we did see a rip in the glove. There was a hole in the glove somewhere. They may have found the DNA on the plant vegetation outside, because I truly believe it was the vegetation outside that pierced the DNA, or that pierced the glove. It was when he went to rip that stuff out of the thing that the glove was pierced, in my opinion. I just again, I don't know that to be fact, but it's just an assessment that I believe to be true.
Department conducted multiple searches focusing on homes in the Catalina foothills, not far from Nancy Guthrie's home. Investigators detained at least 4 people Friday night for questioning.
And the statement about one person offing themselves, that maybe there was a person that offed themselves, but it wasn't affiliated with this case. There's a lot of other things that go on in Tucson besides just this case, and sometimes we have to differentiate that. Guys, we have almost 900 people in chat. I really do appreciate all of you guys being here and learning a little more about this with me, about this case on this 84-year-old grandmother, Nancy Guthrie. If you guys wouldn't mind doing me a favor, I think some of you guys can just double tap on your screen, but if not, go out there and just hit that thumbs up button. If you guys would come back in, I know that it's starting to warm up a little bit around the country. Well, we're getting a front here in Florida right now, but come back in. Tell us where you're from. Seaman, Kay in Maine. I believe there's an SA is affiliated here for some reason. It sounds disturbing, but I do believe that we're going to find out that there is some type of degree of something here related to that aspect of it potentially. So I believe that there's something, in my opinion, there's something here with the DNA on it, but it doesn't sound like it's the subject's blood. So it would touch DNA, potentially semen, saliva, something, urine, something of that magnitude, but not, from my understanding, not blood, potentially. We need to find out whether that blood was matched to the DNA. We've never heard about the DNA inside the house. We just know there is DNA around that. I should on the property. I need to clarify that.
They were later released.
But at the same token, this is not at a loss, because there may have been information that law enforcement was able to extract from all of the individuals involved as we move forward in the investigational process.
In one search, the FBI seized a gray Range Rover about 2 miles.
This is a perfect shot here, because we are hearing about a SUV. And let me see if I can put these up. I know we did this yesterday. I'm going to try this, folks. Let me pull this out. We're going to try to put these up together. Give me just a second. Where was that? I think we're here. Yeah. Okay, we got that one. Let me go ahead and get my second properties up. And this one is X. Nancy Guthrie right here. That is not getting on there. I wonder why it's not going on there. Window capture. Okay. Will it not let me have two of these? So this is the right one. Let's leave that one. Nancy X. It's not allowing me to put both of them up here for some reason. Huh. Let me delete that. Let me remove that one and put a new one up. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. I was just trying to get this. So somebody has done some research into the video, did some highlights, and put some other stuff on there. So let's just get here. Give me just a second. Okay. And they found an SUV. They found an SUV in the parking lot, or not in the parking lot, in the driveway. So hopefully you guys can see that clear. But it appears that there was a vehicle in the driveway, which would make sense, because if there was a vehicle in the driveway, that would explain where potentially Nancy was loaded up and left, okay? And this was near that walkway. So the walkway, the front door, is the loop around her house, right? So he was parked somewhere in the loop on the other side, because you can see the grassy knoll, looking thing here. You can see the grassy, the rocks and the vegetation that's right off this. So it's back here. I don't have that part up. Let me put this so I can put this in perspective for you. So there's where the car is. You see where the blue, and you can see there where the mailbox is. That's the round. That's the circle, and then there's the what they believe is the car. And then when they blow it up, it does look very similar to, sorry about that, to the Range Rover. The tires, The tire's over here. And the tire's over here. I mean, that probably, we didn't have the right shot last night. We didn't have the right shot last night when we were on here, or yesterday when we were on here covering this. But this is the perfect spot. I have it, and I have Betty on TV, so you should be able to see it really good. Where was the F? This is in the camera footage. This is behind. This is where this was taken from the masked intruder video. It was taken, somebody saw a little light gleaming back there, and then they focused in on that area, and then they started using some filters to adjust the shadows and the highlights and the whites and brights. And then they started developing something in the shadows, and that something in the shadows appears to be a vehicle. And this vehicle does appear to have a lot of similarities to this Range Rover, because we were very confused as to why they would pull this Range Rover over. And then my mod sent me this from somebody that did this enhancement, and you can clearly see what appears to be a vehicle in the footage with the masked intruder. And then we see this Range Rover, and it's like, okay, well, this looks like potentially what we're looking for. Not a gray pickup truck, but what appears to be an SUV with black tires, black rims and tires. That's what it appears. And it appears that, you know, it has kind of like a angled nose. I would have thought a Murano, angled nose. But when you see it compared to the Range Rover, you're looking at it saying, could it be? And the answer is, yeah. It looks like it's pretty stinking close. Slide over, can't see. Slide over like that. Because I can only have, hold on, let me see if I can, we don't need all of this. Hold on, let me see if I can scroll this down. Just get it right around the circle. Make it a little bit smaller. Right around the circle. Put it up here in the corner. Can you guys see that a little bit better? Maybe put it like that. Wow. 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 I mean, you kind of see the reflection, like over here, you know, kind of, find my mouse over here, kind of like right here, you know? I don't know. I mean, it's something that kind of makes you go, right? And I went and looked at the raw footage to see if I could get that glare, and I can see the glare. Now, granted, I didn't blow it up to see if I can resemble this. You know, I've done this before where we had a situation where somebody was, where we needed, you know, somebody had produced something, and I went in there and fact-checked them to see if we produced the same image, and we did. So I understand how the image is done. I haven't done it specifically for this one, and maybe when we close it down, we will do some more image reconstruction and blowing up certain things and enhancing those and playing around with the filters and the highlights, lowlights, you know, whites, brights, and shadows and stuff like that, and see if we can lift anything out of it. But I got to tell you, from this angle right here, let me take my face off here so you guys get a good look at this. Hold on, let me get my green screen off. There you go. There you go. Let me get this off too. There you go. So I really think this might be something. I think this, at minimum, I think that this might explain, you know, some of the things that were unexplainable before. Has anyone used a draw or sketch filter on these? No, not that I'm aware of. I personally haven't. And I know a lot of our people that work with film and photos are working the Sebastian Rogers case still. And we still have a vid coming up. So I don't know if they're going to be switching gears to look at this case when we have, you know, an autistic boy still missing. So I don't think we're going to get any help on this until later. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. The wheel well is totally off. Well, you're talking about a grainy image. Once you get blowing up this way, you got to understand. Hopefully, maybe I should present it this way. You have to understand angles of cameras and grittiness of lenses and stuff like that. You're going to have graininess, but in my opinion, I think that this is fairly spot on. But you know what? Constructive criticism could be good, because it may be, if they're looking at this and we're looking at this, like I said, the V-tip I thought would be more in line with, say, a Murano, but for whatever reason, they believe this might be a Range Rover. But even another pointy vehicle, a Porsche. Have you guys seen the Porsche? Is it Porsche or? I think it's the Porsche. I think it's the Porsche SUV. I think the Porsche SUV has a more of a V-tip. But I don't know what I'm looking at here, to be honest with you. I didn't do this. I didn't recreate it. It's just something that we need to look at, right? There was something in the shadows of that image. Somebody also sent me another image, and we're going to be breaking this down. Another one of our audience members sent me some images of what could possibly appear. I couldn't make it out, so I've got to look at it a little bit better, but it looks like maybe potentially a person in the background, but I don't believe that's what it is. I actually think that is a cactus. That is having a resemblance of potentially a person, but I'd like to look at that just a little bit more. So anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and remove that one. That's kind of where I wanted you guys to focus and see, because that was super important to me, and I'm going to keep this up here. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to add this to her case or file there so we don't lose that. But that's very, 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 very interesting right here. Let me open this up again. I want to keep this one. This is the one I wanted to keep. Sorry, give me a second. If you come across anything, ooh, it says retry. Why isn't it loading up? It's not loading up for some reason. Let me make sure she didn't, maybe I got the wrong one. This is the one I want. Oh, it's only doing me, okay, so it's not going to let me. Copy link. Okay, let's put this link here. If you guys ever have anything, make sure you guys save it. That's the most important, and it's not allowing me to save this for some reason, but I'm going to save it anyways. Maybe it'll come in later. There we go. I save everything to a file, whether it's on Facebook or whatnot. There's the gloves. We got a lot still left to go over. We still have a lot to go over, so let's finish it up.
Miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home, investigators were seen taking photos and collecting evidence before towing the car away.
They're probably going to be testing for hair and fiber, see if there's any blood spatter inside, any DNA that can be pulled off of it.
The FBI now counting on the public to take another close look at this surveillance video from Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera, searching for a man described as 5'9" or 5'10" with an average build.
I was going to say, where was it? Hold on. I can see the gleam right here of that now that we see it, like you can't miss it. Now that we see it, you can see this light right here. And this area here was blown up, and this is where that vehicle allegedly is. And as you can see, look at this. You can see her driveway. Here's her mailbox. You can see her driveway. Follow the driveway around and look what's there. It's in the driveway. Let me see if I can. There it is. Right there. You can see it. Right there. Can you guys see it on this? Yeah, you guys can. I can see it. Now that we know it, I can see it right there. And you can see the driveway. It looks like they just pulled right up into the right here and parked. And then what must have walked up. They have to see him being able to walk up. They had to have been able to see where he came from. Average build. He's got a big old butt. Not average. I know he's got a big butt. He got big hands too. His hands are fat. He got fat fingers. Who's Middle E? Oh, Middle E is one of our content creator friends on these platforms. Their son has had a mass in his brain, and he's gone under several surgeries. It's just very, very, very sad. They're the sweetest, kindest. It's the E-Crime Cast, the crime dogs. But they're just a blessing to have. But guys, I can see it now. I can literally see it now. I can see it. I don't even need to play with the stuff. I can see it. This is, I think we got it, guys. I think we know why they pulled over that family with the Range Rover. I really do. I think that's a car back there. I think we have a car on footage, folks. I think we have a car on footage. And when we blow it up, this is what you're seeing. It looks like the Range Rover in part. So I don't know, folks. I'm personally seeing it. Oops. I'm personally seeing it here. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
At this survey,
it's definitely in the raw footage. Okay? It's definitely in the raw footage. So it wasn't photoshopped in. I mean, this is legit. It's in the footage that was released by the FBI.
Surveillance video from Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera, searching for a man described as 5'9" or 5'10" with an average build.
Looks more like a
the
truck.
Pima County Sheriff's Department tells us several DNA samples have been sent to a private lab in Florida for testing. Meantime, the sheriff also told us we should expect daily police activity here in the Tucson area as investigators continue following up on leads. And Tucson, Arizona.
All right, so we got our feel of that. Again, breaking mobile command center and SWAT just moved in Nancy's case. This was just released just a few hours ago at 7:02 a.m. this morning. Let's go to it.
Now, we noticed potentially significant vehicle movement here. It happened while I was talking to the sheriff. I asked him about that too. Here it is.
Your mobile command center just rolled out. SWAT vehicle is not in its usual spot. Okay. Are you about to detain someone else?
I know that they've got a lot of things going on out there, but I wouldn't. It would be very inappropriate for me to talk about those things. It's an officer safety issue, those kinds of things, right?
Now, the last time those vehicles moved, Brett, was when they detained a person for questioning just a few nights ago. That is the only other time in the 11 days or so that we have been here that we have seen. Oh, so
that must have been for it just dropped this morning, but it had to have been from the other night because there's been 2 times those vehicles have moved. All right, now I don't know if this is AI created or what, but it looked pretty interesting. It's from a new account. I don't know what to make of this, but somebody sent it to me and I actually liked it.
A late-night, highly coordinated law enforcement operation ripped through the quiet high desert of Tucson, turning an upscale neighborhood into an active crime scene. I'm Diane, and you're watching the Diane Report. Before we get into it, subscribe for fast, verified updates.
I feel like
Sunday
this is
evening,
AI.
Federal and local officers moved in force on a secluded residential enclave in the Catalina foothills, shattering the area's usual stillness. The focus of the operation was a private home located less than 2 miles from the residence of Nancy Guthrie, the missing 84-year-old matriarch whose disappearance has dominated headlines. Around 8:30 p.m. local time, in a rapid, high-risk entry, authorities forced their way onto the property and took 3 people into custody for extensive questioning. Initial on-scene accounts say those detained were 2 adult males and an older woman who was identified as the mother of one of the men. What moments earlier had been a street of million-dollar homes and perfectly kept lawns became a sprawling forensic command post. For hours, armored SWAT vehicles and unmarked black SUVs, believed to be transporting FBI evidence recovery teams, streamed through police lines. Tension hung over the neighborhood as investigators conducted methodical, room-by-room searches of the residents. Officials were cautious to avoid prematurely designating the detained individuals as formal suspects in the Guthrie abduction. Simultaneously, investigators established a second scene several miles away in a commercial strip. At a fast food parking lot, FBI agents and Puma County Sheriff's deputies converged on a silver-gray Range Rover that appeared to have been either abandoned or forcibly stopped. Witnesses said the vehicle's license plates had been obscured, a fact that immediately raised investigators' suspicions.
So they're saying that the license plate was obscured. Remember, we saw that yellow paper on it? We saw that yellow paper on the license plate. We thought law enforcement put that there. But we're hearing that it's possible that it wasn't law enforcement. We're hearing that it's possible that that paper was put there by the person in the vehicle. So I'm very confused about that. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's Jenna. Okay, I wanted to know because I'm like, you can see her. She looks real, but her hands, it's her hands that, I thought maybe she just doesn't. I've been trying to, especially with some of the videos that I've been doing. Oh, Pebbles, good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. But I've been trying to keep my hands together because it seems better. So I've been trying not to be so movie when I'm, talking on my videos so I can clip it and it'd be seamless together. So I've been trying to, but the way she moved her hands, it was like such the same exact spot. It was just weird. It was weird. But she has great information. Hey, baby love. It's actually anybody owning a vehicle other than a dealership. Huh. We want the real Betty. There you go. I don't know. But so far she's good. I mean, usually when I hear AI, I don't like it because their information is so wrong. And I'm thinking, this is AI. How in the hell is AI getting all this information wrong? I believe one of our audience members sent me a video yesterday talking about how Tommaso broke his silence and said this, that, and the other. I'm like, huh? So I'm doing some research and I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen. Like, this whole thing false? Well, it kind of looks like it. I don't know what to say. Everything I'm looking at, it doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. So how in the hell is AI making such horrible mistakes when they should have every single detail down pat? Because, I mean, think about how many of us are relying on it. Every single morning, I've got AI sending me a report on this case for talking points, right? All the new changing stuff. Like, I rely on AI to get a whole bunch of stuff right. So it scares me, but I also make it provide me resources so I can fact check AI just to be sure, and it does. It sends me links to the resources so I can fact check AI. And I don't understand how they get so much wrong. So it tells me in part that maybe that the AI stuff going out there is wrong intentionally, that the people putting it out there are intentionally trying to make it wrong. Guys, we have over 1,000 people in chat. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you so very much. If you don't know who I am, I'm Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering the case of Nancy Guthrie since the beginning. And we're a channel, like a viewer-sponsored channel. So that means that we work off a thumbs up. You guys help this channel grow by hitting thumbs up. We have over 1,000 people, and as Frank It Up just told you, we only have 385 likes. I've already been online now for over an hour. So, if you guys would like, if you're getting some good information, if you're coming here for information, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. That really does help me, and not just me, the other people that work with me to support this channel and to get accurate information. We could be doing a lot of things here. We could be making this. We could get a lot of clicky stuff going on these channels if we so chose, and we could really be driving up the numbers, but we choose here to stay with the facts. So if that's what you like, the only way you can help support this channel and keep this channel growing, is by hitting that thumbs up for us. And if you really do like it, share this content. I greatly appreciate it. And again, thank you all for being here. So Diane's reports is something new. It's obviously AI generated, which again is very problematic. It's very problematic, and it creates an issue because, typically when people create stuff, there's copyright. There's no copyright with AI generated reporting. So we have a legal quagmire with people that are producing these things as well.
Forensic teams moved in and an additional person was taken into custody there, bringing the total number of detainees to 4. To protect the integrity of evidence, officers covered the Range Rover's interior with large blocking tarps, shielding it from cameras and onlookers. The vehicle was later loaded onto a flatbed and taken to a secured facility for an exhaustive forensic examination. Though the Pima County Sheriff's Department initially suggested it would brief the public, they ultimately deferred to the FBI, saying federal handlers requested strict operational silence. That blackout has left both the public and the Guthrie family in agonizing uncertainty as officials work to determine how these 4 detainees might be linked to the missing woman.
This is probably the best AI I like. I like this kind of AI because so far, in my opinion, this AI reporting has been spot on. And this is what I would expect from AI, right? I would expect AI to be more accurate than we the people, right? But all too often, people send me AI stuff that's completely off base. And it makes me wonder, why would people want to be infiltrating bad information into a case? I've never understood that, yet every single case we always have. Usually it's the hate channels being complicit in it. But to be honest with you, I'm surprised the hate channels have tapped out of being nasty to people, which is shocking.
The case's complexity is heightened by the victim's profile. Nancy Guthrie is not a typical missing person case. She is an elderly woman with serious medical conditions that require continual care and medication. Her disappearance from home appears to have been more than a simple walkaway. It suggests a deliberate breach. As the investigation moves into a more critical phase, criminal analysts note the conspicuous absence of an obvious motive. In many high-profile abductions of affluent targets, kidnappers establish contact early to demand payment or prove control. But the Guthrie matter has been riddled with inconsistencies and a lack of direct contact from whoever may be holding her.
This is where we have the biggest problem in this entire case, because this is what makes us waffle, right? This is what makes us waffle. This is why this case defies logic. Because on one hand, we expect criminals to behave a certain way because they're criminals, right? And statistically, criminals work this way. Thank you, Keith. I got that. Messenger, I would assume. Did you send it by Messenger? Because I usually don't. The best way to send me stuff is bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I don't see anything from Messenger from you. Let me see. Let's go to Facebook. You might have to send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, Keith. Because I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. I'm just not seeing it. The guy driving the ran is Zach. And Jag Hobb, he locked his Facebook. He works as an accountant at MG Motors in Tucson, and is Jordan, his photo look-alike, shown JLR investigate feminine eyebrows. And I heard that guy, Zach, has like eyeliner looking eyelashes too, or eyes, that it's natural. I used to have a friend that had beautiful lashes that gave him this, eyeliner look. And he never wore eyeliner, but he had that eyeliner look. He had those gosh, I can't just change eyes. But anyways, getting back to this, I think this is one of the biggest problems. Let's go back just a few moments.
2 separate ransom demands did surface after she vanished. Kidnappers establish contact early to.
And that's what I was getting at. The contact early. This doesn't defy a ransom either, because all of the critical things that you would expect in a ransom: smash and grab, immediate request for payment, immediate proof of life, immediate instructions on how to get their loved one back. And none of that took place. So you have this thing. It defies that. It defies the logic of somebody breaking into the house and this being a robbery gone bad. Because again, we have a lot of robberies that go bad, and people die in those robberies. And you very rarely ever hear of somebody taking the body with them or taking the person out of the home, which leaves you with the other aspect of this: family involvement, worker involvement, somebody connected to the house, connected to the victim involvement, but then it comes down to how comfortable that person was moving around at night, which implies to me that he had already incapacitated his victim and was going out there to clean up the evidence. That's kind of where I'm at with this, but I don't know. Again, I'm confused. I'm confused because I got three varying, differing theories here. I mean, wildly different. From the family being involved to a no-name, no-known person, third-party person. Like, I've got my theories are still a freaking radius. Like, it goes from one extreme to another extreme on what happened in this case. We have nothing definitively driving this. But what I can tell you is the only glimmer of information that I'm getting is not from the words being stated from law enforcement. It's the actions from law enforcement. For example, what are we seeing? What did we see early on? And I said this at the beginning of the show. What did we see early on? We saw early on a concentrated effort in Annie and Tommaso's home and area. They went into their home. They took photos. They canvassed their home twice. Right? They canvassed the home, canvassed the area, knocked the doors. Almost every single person cooperated with them, let them go out there and look at their wash, let them go into other outside buildings. We saw one law enforcement officer go into an RV that was on this person's property. So they were searching people's property in Annie and Tommaso's neighborhood. So early on, you could see that concentrated effort looking at the family, putting the family, under a microscope, if you will. And then now what we're looking at, thank you. I'll look at that in just a second, Keith. Thank you so much. And then now what we're looking at here is we're looking at them looking at every other person besides the family. We're seeing them go all the way over to Rio Rico and get a delivery guy. And then we're hearing about this person 2 miles down the road near where they found these gloves. The glove that apparently may link back to Nancy's home. And so they did a warrant search, a federal warrant search at a property 2 miles down the road near that glove. And then they picked up this guy in a Range Rover affiliated with that very home. And now we're seeing an SUV, or what appears to be an SUV, in the background of that assailant image. We can see that there's a car back there. There's some type of vehicle back there. You can see the tires. And then when you look at the tires and you look at this Range Rover, you're like, oh, this is starting to make a little more sense now. Because everybody was scratching their head about, why are they looking in a Range Rover? We had just heard that day that they're looking for a gray pickup truck, and then we see that they're pulling over a gray Range Rover, and we're like, what the hell? Let's see. Give me a second. Let me check. Okay, yes, I did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we showed that yesterday. Now, is this guy, this is not the Zach guy. Is this the Zach guy, or is this the, what was the other guy's name that they were talking about? Is this Zach, or is this the other guy? I can't remember. Who is this? There was two people, and I know Zach was one of them, and this was another person. I showed this photo yesterday. It's not a robbery. I think family is involved. Fan fun. That's what a lot of people think, and it's because this case defies logic. I still on the vein of this being Luke. That's it. So we have a Luke Daly and a Zach. That's it. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. So I don't know who this is. I don't know if this is Luke Daly or if this is hold on, let me put this. We showed this yesterday. So let me pull this up here. Give me just a second. I'm going to put it in the camera roll and send it over. Give me 2 shakes. We'll pull it up. But there's 2 people, a Zach, which it appears that they went into that Zach person's home down the road, but we are also hearing about a Luke Daly, and I don't know who this is, because I don't know who Luke is and who why can't I ever get their names right? Zach is. Luke and Zach. Good gracious. Let me write this down. If I write it down, maybe I'll remember it. Hold on. Luke Daly and Zach. Luke Daly and his mom, Mary Daly, were the ones whose house it was. Okay. That's what I'm hearing. I heard Zach. I heard Zach's name was the house that they... So I'm confused about that. Either way, let's just look at this photo here. So we looked at this yesterday. Somebody, I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. This is one person that does kind of... I did watch the video, and when they pushed this over, it did line up quite a bit. Zach is the Range Rover, and Luke is the house. Okay. That explains it. But who's this? This right here is Zach, though, right? Because I was under the impression this was Zach. And if this is Zach, this guy here, if this is the guy in the Range Rover, I think this is probably the most closely resembled suspect. The guy looked like the image, the sketch. The guy had a goatee. He had fat hands. Like, everybody kept thinking that it was like work gloves and then latex gloves over work gloves. But the one thing I noticed, and it was pointed out to me by my audience member when we were showing the image of, the eyeliner. He's not wearing eyeliner, but it's just the way his eyes and eyelashes are, that it has like this beautiful eyeliner looking penned, whatever. But getting back to that, yeah. Who owns the home that was raided? I heard it was an apartment, not an actual house. From my understanding, okay, it's not Luke. Okay, so this must be Zach. Luke, from my understanding, must have been the kid at the house. So this is interesting because, to me, this guy kind of fits. It sounds like he's got a criminal history. He's not a good dude. And at the time he was pulled over in the SUV, it looked like he had a beard and a mustache, much thicker than what we're seeing here. And it was black. He even stared at the camera yeah, he did. Zach is not an Airbnb. Daily, okay, sorry, I missed that. Some people are just lucky to have not. I know. I had a friend, Jason. His name was Jason. I went to school with him. What was his last name? Jason Hodges. He had the beautifulest eyes, and but his name was Jason Hodge. I don't know whatever happened to him because we were all such knuckleheads, I don't know whatever happened to these people I used to hang out with. This Luke looks a lot like the masked man. His eye, that's it. It's his eyes and stuff like that. And so I do believe that there is a reason why they pulled over that Range Rover, but I think it's a combination. This guy being in it and it appearing to have a Range Rover on the outside of Nancy's house. I feel like it's starting to speed up pick up at minimum. These are all the gloves, some of the gloves that they found out there. I wanted to show this to you so you guys could put it into context that not all the gloves were these black nitrile looking gloves, that some of the gloves that went for testing were other gloves, because again, many people had assumed that this person here had a set of gloves under the latex gloves because of how fat the hands were. Well, come to find out, the guy that was pulled over, we got to see a little glimpse of the hands when they were getting the fingerprint at the car, and the guy's hands were huge. So we're like, okay, maybe it was just one pair of latex gloves over these fat fingers. Okay, so that's okay, let me write this down, Zach. Thank you, guys. If you guys find this stuff or hear people talking about this stuff, I love going through and researching. So if you guys can send that stuff to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, it'd really be helpful for me. Because I'm just one person back here. We do have my team, and they've been putting some stuff into our mod chat, so I really do appreciate that. We have a lot of stuff here. It's really, really, really sad. She talked about it. Yeah, I did. Yeah, and we got some more theories coming up, Pebbles. I saw that in there. We got the theory coming up now. I think it's this one here. Yes, it's the next one that we are coming up to. So kind of bringing us full circle back to this case, okay? We went on quite a ride. This has been very, very exhausting covering the case. And again, if you guys are coming in here and you are confused, don't feel like you're incompetent. Don't feel like you're like it's you. Okay, I've been doing this for a long time. I usually have a good my head's set on right, and we usually analyze these cases very well, and we can determine, little by slow, who may be the culprit, who they may be looking at, what they may be looking at. We really do focus on the behaviors of law enforcement, all the statements law enforcement states, and predominantly, what are they doing? Their behavior really dictates where they are in the case. And so I've always found that watching law enforcement is going to help us understand where we are. So I always focus, even when law enforcement refuses to have interviews, refuses to have press conferences and stuff like that, we still keep an eye on what they are doing, where they are going, who they're speaking to. And those help us define where we are in an investigation, what angles they're looking at, where they're starting to lean to. We can garner that without them saying one single word. And so that's what we do over here on the Bullhorn Betty channel when we get all these issues where nobody's speaking, nobody's talking to us, nobody's telling us one way or another. We have to go to previewing what they are doing to get some answers. And here we're learning that they're going outside of the family. They're not looking at people that are affiliated with the family, affiliated with the home. They're going to outside people, third parties that we are so far away from. We're not even knowing who they are until after they're being questioned. And then we have the opportunity to dive in because they're not connected to the household or the family. Well, now we've got some professionals basically stating the same thing. They're basically stating that, look, we believe this truly is a botched robbery. And again, we're all saying, well, okay, it may be a botched robbery, but why are we having so many issues with this botched robbery, right? Why is this botched robbery not falling in line with normal statistics? Can you explain that? And that's where we're having our problem, because they're not explaining that aspect either. So we really have no earthly idea why they feel this is a botched robbery instead of something closer to home, especially with the fact that this person removed this person from that home. Who removes a person from the home that's not affiliated with that home? Actually, let's ask ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT. Let's find out. I'm not smarter than a fifth grader. Let's see what do you want to ask ChatGPT? How often does a robbery gone wrong where the victim was removed from the home. Okay, let's see what it says here. It says, short answer, a robbery where a victim is forcibly removed from the home is relatively uncommon, but not rare. Okay, well, that's good. Botched robbery doesn't include taking an 84-year-old woman out of the house with you. I agree. That's why I'm asking ChatGPT what it thinks. So let's break it down. How common are robberies overall? According to the data from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Uniform Crime Reports, and let me make sure this is all up on here. Can you guys read this? You cannot read this. Hold on, folks. Let me get you where you guys can read it. You can follow along with me, because sometimes I read fast, sometimes I'm a little too loud, sometimes I'm not loud enough, and at least this way you guys can follow along with us, and you can read it at your own rate. Okay, let's see if we can put this there. Let's get this over here. There we go. I think that's good. Okay, so how common is this? According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Uniform Crime Reports, and NIBRS data, most robberies occur in public places, streets, parking lots, commercial locations. Residential robberies are a minority of total robberies. That's interesting. It's good. I mean, that makes me feel good. But very interesting. Most burglaries occur when a home is unoccupied. And remember, I told you guys that. Remember, I told you that looking at our home from the street, it doesn't look like anybody lives there. So that's an interesting aspect of it. So right away, robbery inside a home is less common than a burglary. Robbery with victim's presence is even smaller, a subset. So robbery where a victim is removed, even a smaller subset. So we're talking about, this is defying logic, folks, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but Annie and Tommaso look guilty. I say, but looks don't, you can't go by pure looks alone or emotion, because unfortunately, there are a lot of people that look guilty as shit. I don't know if you've looked at half of the, like, you can just pick, let me put an example. Let me put a real life example. We were out at the Idaho 4, okay? I was running live. I was out there in front of 1122 King Road. Got the camera rolling. Then all of a sudden, my chat blows up. They've got him. They've got him. They've got him. And I'm like, send it to me. Send it to me. Send it to me, right? They've got him. They got him, they said. Send him to me. Send him to me. So we're like, okay, we've got it. Then I see this picture, and it's a guy with colored hair, shaved head, and everything like that. Jason Ellison? It started with an E. Ellis? Something like that. I can't remember the name. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this looks like the guy to turn the phone around. You know, looks like a punk. And I remember Mary, she's still in the chat today, this day and age. I remember seeing her just the other day. And Mary goes, what does a murderer look like? And I was thinking, well, he looks like this today, right? Being a smartass. And then everybody's like, oh. Then I started getting all the notifications. That's the wrong guy. We sent you the wrong guy. And they sent me Brian Koberger. And Brian Koberger looked like the studious, GQ guy, and not GQ like he's good looking, but, clean cut, hair done, everything. And I was like, touche, Mary, you're right. Here's the real guy. Definitely doesn't look like the guy we were just looking at. So, I understand that the looks, and sometimes they are accurate. You're right. You can look at somebody and say, yeah, they look guilty. Okay. Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, that guy gives me the creeps. As soon as I saw his face, I had shivers up my spine. I don't know what it was about him, but I just knew he was it. I'm supposed to be receiving a package today that needs a signature, but I don't hear the doorbell. So there is that. But I wanted to share that with you because, looks are right. They do look guilty, and we look at a lot of people, but we got to be cautious because Sometimes people can look guilty and not be guilty. Just like that Jason Ellis, when I put that camera up, he was accused of jacking somebody, but he wasn't accused of homicide, right? They literally sent me the wrong photo by accident. So, so now we have the victim's residence. Now, how often are they removed from the residence? When a victim is removed from a home during a robbery, it usually falls into one of 4 categories. Ooh, this is interesting. Carjacking extension. There was no carjacking. Right? So we can take that off. I'm not even going to read that because in this case, it doesn't matter. Express kidnapping. A victim is abducted briefly to obtain money or access to account. So they take them with them in the car so they can go over and rob their bank account. That, okay, I can see that, but that didn't happen here. Robbery that escalates to homicide and body disposal. It's going to be C or D, targeted abduction staged as a robbery. And this is where you guys are right here. You guys are in this area because you guys believe it's affiliated with the family. And so these two here, these are the ones that are in play right now, in my opinion. These are the ones that are in play right now, in my opinion. A robbery that escalated into homicide. And I told you guys, I truly believe, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. We don't know. Suspects aren't affiliated with family or home caretakers. Just saying leads have to come from someplace. Yep, I agree. And this is giving us, but this doesn't help us, right? This is where we've been this entire case. We've been either it's a robbery gone bad or somebody that she knows is involved. We still, even after 16 days, folks, we're still at the same beginning we were prior to all of this. So let's just read this article real quick and then we'll get moving on, okay? Investigators have touted theories that Nancy Guthrie's disappearance may be linked to a burglary gone wrong as opposed to a kidnapping. An inside source in the investigation told AZ Family there is widespread belief that Nancy could still be alive as the search for missing matriarch 84 enters its 3rd week. From earlier stage of their probe, Arizona cops believe Nancy was taken against her will after she was allegedly snatched from her bed on the morning of February 1st. A new theory raised eyebrows with Chris Nanos, a Pima County sheriff, leading the search, quickly stating it didn't come from law enforcement. It didn't come from us. No idea, even though that's one of many possibilities. We would never speculate such a thing. We will let the evidence take us to motive. So, and a law enforcement source appeared to dismiss the suggestion. This is not the working theory inside the unit, they told Fox News. Nighttime residential burglaries are so ridiculously rare, crazy rare. So this is where the family, somebody she knows, comes in. And we still have a lot of questions, right? From the ex-husband, Mark Orchard, to some crazy lunatic that watched the Today Show of Savannah talking about her hometown, you know, and providing a target. Maybe this is the reason. Maybe it has something to do with Epstein. Maybe it has something to do with her husband's connection to the Clintons or the Obamas or something else. I mean, it's scary to think. We don't have any indication that Guthrie really kept anything valuable there or this was a burglary gone wrong. They don't take the victim with them usually, and that's been our point from the very beginning. That's what we said on this show from day one. Nancy's famous daughter, Savannah, once again appealed to her mom's alleged abductor to do the right thing. I wanted to come on. It's been 2 weeks since our mother was taken. I just want to come on here and say we still have hope. We still believe. She's begging to the abductor to let them know where her mom is. And it's sad because I don't know where she is. And I don't think they're going to come forward. But we don't know. It looks like I'm off just a little bit here. Oops, wrong one. So the man in the chilling black and white video had a gun holster in his pants and was wearing black gloves. It has since emerged that the man was wearing a black Ozark Trail hiker backpack sold exclusively at Walmart. It sounds like just about everything this man had on him was sold at Walmart. Nanos revealed cops had spent several days combing through surveillance videos from Walmart stores in the area. It's not known if the suspect bought the backpack in the store or online. Walmart officials have handed over records in store and online for the Ozark Trail Hiker backpack purchases. This is going to be very interesting. We have a gun holster from Walmart. We have most likely a ski mask from Walmart, and we definitely have a backpack from Walmart. So we have at least two things that have been confirmed from Walmart. One, the holster. Mike Ruiz bought that and showed us that. And the other one was the backpack that we learned was behind a glass door to purchase. Now, granted, neither one of these things help us find anything closer to Nancy, but it gives us a profile. The guy is a frequent to Walmart or Walmart online. And probably every single thing worn in that video was probably purchased from Walmart. And they most likely may have been purchased at the same time if this was a targeted event. They wouldn't have bought, the gloves here and then the mask here and the jacket here and the shoes here. They would have bought it all in one knowing that they were going. Now, maybe the shoes, the clothes, and stuff like that weren't new. But I have a funny feeling. I don't call it a balaclava. I think it was a regular ski mask. Balaclava to me looks a little different. This looks like a standard cheap, ski mask. Netted, cotton knit ski mask. Open eyes, mouth. A balaclava just looks different. It's more snug. It's more fitting. And just in my opinion, I think that maybe a balaclava is a ski mask, but to me, a balaclava looks different than the ski mask he was wearing, for me. So I believe that was their Pure Blood. Which Walmart, though? I think there's several Walmarts within 5 miles. I don't know. I don't know. Everything's speculative at this point. I don't know. I can't get it. Like, every time I try to think that it's just a burglary gone bad, everything just doesn't fit. Every time I think it's a family did something, there's things that just doesn't fit. Every theory that I put here has a big fat freaking hole in it that I can't fill up with common sense. And so it's causing problems because I don't know which way. And I know that that's the problem with a lot of content creators. Usually we get an idea of where the case is going, and we can follow that scent, and we can start uncovering the truth. This one, it's telling me that law enforcement doesn't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what they're looking at here, folks. Nobody. In my opinion, nobody knows. Punishment is writing BH whole intro song out day one. There now. This is a 10-year-old in deep trouble. Oh, good gracious. Oh, good gracious. There you go. Let him write. I will not talk back. I will not talk back. I will not talk back. I live in Iowa. Those ski masks are everywhere. Yeah, well, this is in Arizona, and I'm pretty sure Arizona, they get pretty cold there. They get really hot and really cold, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not from Arizona, so I don't know their weather, but I could have sworn I've heard about blizzards in Arizona before, but I might be wrong. Maybe I'm way off base. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, that is our show. I want to thank you all for coming out and hanging out with me. We will have more throughout the day today on this case. We are sitting here waiting. I do believe that there's going to be other activities. It sounds like we got DNA profiles. We should be getting something soon. Even if we don't get any hit from CODIS, I think the investigated genetic genealogy will assist in this case. And we're right now at 16 days in. About 16 days in was the realization and the revelation of Brian Koberger's car in the Idaho 4. So to put this in perspective, just to put it in perspective. So that tells me that, in the next couple weeks, at minimum, we should have an answer, folks. I really do believe if this is not, from my understanding, they put the DNA in CODIS. And it takes about 24 hours to find out whether there's a hit from CODIS. The 24 hours should be lapsing soon. If there's no hit in CODIS, it's going to the next phase, and that's IgG. IgG should take if they put a rush on it, hopefully within days, a week or less, maybe 2 weeks tops. And then they've got to do field work. Then they got to do collection data. Then they got to do processing of that collection data. Then they've got to do the arrest warrant. So we've got several phases that we need to get through before we get to an arrest, folks. We're not quite there yet. And we're starting to get close. In my opinion, I think we're getting close, but we need to understand what we're looking at here. But I have a funny feeling that we've got the video wrong. They're not telling us what the time of the video. And I have a funny feeling what we're going to ultimately find out is that assailant was in that house prior to that video being rendered. He was entirely too comfortable outside of that door. He was entirely too comfortable moving around in front of that camera and not being concerned that somebody could be getting notifications and calling law enforcement right then. So I think there's more to this story than what we're putting together. And I think we need to start looking at how this case, because this will ultimately lead us to the answers we're looking for, but we need to understand what happened inside that home first. And I think that we are going off what we're being told, but nobody's stopping to really put it together, and this isn't matching. So I have a funny feeling this video of this assailant is at 2:12. That means that assailant was at that property for 25 minutes before he started removing cameras. And it sounds to me like he was removing the camera to start getting ready to remove her body out of that house. That's what I think happened. So we've got problems, and it took him another 20 minutes to get her out of the house. That's what I think happened. So we've got a lot here. What happened inside that home? And who is that person on that video? If you guys have any questions, you guys have any leads, you have any perspectives, you got any insight, send it to me. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Send me your updates. Send me your perspectives. Send me what you think is going on. What would explain all the information, all the facts that we know? Because I'm putting it together, and the facts are starting to take me a different direction. They're telling me that she was incapacitated before this camera came off that front door. So I want to find out, does my theory hold water or not? Let me know. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Guys, please say a prayer for this family, the Guthrie family. Please say a prayer for our true crime community family. The E's are struggling right now. Their son is going in for major surgery. It just seems like right when they think everything is good and they got the cancer, something rears its ugly head, and this is their son. So as you guys can imagine, that's got to be something very, very scary for any parent to go through and any parent to watch their child undergo. He's already been, 2 or 3? This is like his 2, 3, or 4th brain surgery, folks. I just want you guys to understand how serious this is. And all the prayers absolutely help the Guthrie family as well as the E family. So guys, thank you for all being here. Thank you for tuning in to watch me, Bullhorn Betty, explain these cases and break it down to you the best way I can. I wish I had better answers for you. I wish I had more answers for you, but we all are just still sitting here trying to make heads or tails of what we're looking at. And I don't think even law enforcement knows truly what we're looking at here. The information is starting to develop, but it's just taking time. So I do believe that this will be solvable. There's a lot of cases that I say I don't believe this is solvable, but this is one that I believe is solvable. I believe, at least in all fairness, I believe it'll be solved before Summer Wells or Sebastian Rogers. So that's one good thing that the Savannah, the Guthrie family can take to the bank. I truly believe this will be solved before a children's case is solved. So anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. We will be coming back with breaking news later today. I truly believe in the next day or two, we're going to have another break in the case. So we're going to be watching, all eyes on what is going out there in Pima County. So God bless you. We'll see you soon.